Meanwhile, Maru gets jumped in a game hall by a stranger who won't let a rumor go. Some story about a girl he liked turning out to be a guy. It's meant as an insult. Maru doesn't take it as one. He fights anyway because the guy throws the first punch and comes out of it with a knocked out tooth and zero regrets. Kiruko drags him out before it turns into a real gang problem. Let's ditch this place. Walking it off afterward is where Maru finally lays out the whole truth of where he actually comes from. Born the same year as the Great Disaster. First real memories start around 3 or 4 in some rundown building crammed with 7 or 8 other kids, always cold, always hungry, but with adults around who at least tried. That fell apart when he was 7. The place shut down. The kids got split up and scattered. His group wandered for 3 years, living on scraps, until the adult leading them got killed in a turf war. With nowhere else to go, they just joined the gang that killed him. He stayed with that gang until Makura showed up out of nowhere and took him in. Kiruko asks the question that matters. Did he love Makura? Think of her as more than just an authority figure. Maru's answer is flat, almost clinical. Not really. She was just the next person I had to listen to. He says she only ever looked at him with a kind of distant coldness, never once treated him like an actual person. She's the one who taught him how to kill Maneater, and she's the reason he's out here at all, chasing a place he doesn't fully understand, for a mission he was never given the full details of. She even asks at one point whether Makura could use the Maru touch too. Maru tells her no. Makura said only he can do it. Nobody's ever explained why. Kiruko, meanwhile, is doing what she always does with information, hoarding it. She strips a stash of books down to the useful ones, plans to read them and then burn them, on principle. Knowledge has more value if you keep it to yourself. When she heads out to sell what's left, she leaves Maru behind on purpose. His face is too recognizable after yesterday's fight, and getting spotted again means trouble neither of them needs. It's a small moment, but it says a lot. She's already thinking 2 steps ahead to protect him, without making it sound like protection at all. There's chatter going around the gang scene too, underneath all of this. Rumors about something called the Ministry of Reconstruction. But then, Kiruko had a flashback from the past when Robin told her, supposedly a group hunting for people with useful skills, trying to drag civilization back toward whatever it used to be, by force if it has to be. Nobody's got solid intel on them, just whispers, and a growing pile of people who've gone missing lately with no explanation. It's the kind of rumor that could be nothing or could explain a lot more than anyone wants to admit, and there's a version of Kiruko starting to surface that she clearly wasn't expecting either. Talking with someone else about Maru's fighting skills, she catches herself saying, "My Maru," out loud, then immediately backpedals, almost embarrassed by it. Why am I so proud of him all of a sudden? I'm just his bodyguard. Once we get him to heaven and he finds what he's looking for, I'll be on my own again. She says it like she's reminding herself of the rules, like she already knows she's starting to break them, which doesn't last long because Kiruko comes back to find Maru missing, panics hard, starts screaming his name through the building, only to find him in the next room over, completely fine, looking for useful books. The books turn out to be porn. Neither of them ever fully recovers from that conversation. There's a quieter thread running underneath all the bickering though. A newspaper Maru finds lays out a theory about why the old world actually collapsed, that people built robots and AI to make life easier, got paranoid about being watched by their own creations, and ended up turning that paranoia on each other instead, until it tore everything down. Kiruko doesn't buy it, calls it a fable, too clean, too much like a morality tale dressed up as history. Then he said that story's just there to say life before wasn't heaven, because if it really was, they'd have to travel backward in time to reach it, and neither of them can do that. Kiruko pushes back, quietly. What if it's not about the past at all? What if somewhere out there right now, someone's already rebuilding it? Back at the sealed school, the mood turns heavy fast. A boy named Terao, sick for a while now, gets a small gesture of kindness from the other kids, who set up a little show hoping it might cheer him up, bragging about how strong he used to be before he got ill. That night, the announcement comes flat and clinical. Time of death logged down to the minute. Taro is gone. The next morning, the school announces over the intercom that Terao died overnight, and the kids are gathered in the square to say goodbye before his cremation. Terao's death is the second loss among these kids. The first was a kid named Asura, who died by suicide. The staff don't talk about it like an accident. They talk about it like guilt, admitting the boy was born into a body his mind couldn't bear, and that they're the ones responsible for both his life and his death. Terao's death raises a bigger fear than grief. These kids are supposed to be immune to everything, so if one of them could get sick and die, the rest of them might too. And the staff's reaction isn't comfort, it's urgency. Something called the Day of Fate can't be moved, so they need a cure fast. Whatever that deadline actually is, it's clearly bigger than one sick child, and nobody's told the kids about it. Back out in the Wasteland, Kiruko spent the money that she earns through selling books to purchase a map from a vendor in town, one which claims to identify areas based on how safe their water is. There is even a place marked as 100% safe. She's pretty smug about the trade. That's the value of information. Then Maru and Kiruko pick up an unexpected tale. Someone who followed them of the ship, tracked them through a tent city, and finally just knocks and asks straight up to hire them as bodyguards, heading toward a place called the Immortal Order. Word is, there's a doctor there who can keep a person alive, forever grafting man-eater parts onto human bodies. Power, immortality, all of it allegedly on offer for the right price and the right stomach. The stranger's carrying proof in a satchel. A scavenged man-eater part, already going rotten, clearly meant to be sold or traded toward exactly that kind of surgery. It's grim, and it's also the first solid confirmation that the rumors about this order aren't just campfire stories. Somebody out there really is experimenting on man-eaters and human bodies at the same time. Maru and Kiruko take the lead. Two possible paths toward heaven now. A rumor of perfectly safe, pure water and this, the immortal order. Afterwards they meet. A innkeeper named Totori practically ambushes them with hospitality, cleanest rooms, freshest futons, the whole pitch, even after they turn her down, saying they don't have time to rest. She still points them toward an underground passage near the old elevated tracks, where water supposedly collects, and Kiruko tips her generously on the way out, despite Maru's suspicion that she might be setting them up to get robbed. Kiruko isn't worried, they're broke anyway, and Totori had already told them to keep their valuables on them, which reads as a good faith move. They find a badly mauled man down there, his friend already gone, begging for help and insisting a monster did this to him. He's too far gone to save. Kiruko ends up putting him out of his misery. Then, thinking they're dealing with a man-eater, they rig a trap and send Maru in to finish it with the Maru touch. Turns out it's not a man-eater at all. It's a real feral bear, and Maru realizes mid-reach that he's just walked up and poked an actual bear with his bare hand. They scramble onto scaffolding to escape the bear, and Kiruko drops the gun's battery right into its territory. With only one shaky shot left, she strikes a deal. Get the battery, and she'll let him touch her chest as a reward. He drops down instantly, snatches the battery off the ground, and scrambles it back up to the scaffolding. The real plan. Maru climbs down while the bear's distracted, then Trust falls into his arms so they can run. What she doesn't say is that if that last shot fails, she's staying behind to hold the bear off alone. He finds out when it charges, and he refuses to leave her, forcing that one uncertain shot to be all that saves them both. It lands, the bear drops, and later, dead serious, he brings the bet back up, insisting he held up his end. It costs them. One of the men who tried to help doesn't make it, and once the dust settles, Kiruko finally puts the pieces together out loud. The whole safe water tip, the map, all of it, was bait laid by bandits posing as friendly locals, meant to lure travelers straight into that bear's territory. Once they're settled into rooms at Totori's inn, Maru reminds Kiruko flat out that he held up his end back at the scaffolding, risked his life for that battery, and now it's her turn to pay up. Kiruko, clearly not thrilled but sticking to her word, goes along with it. Right at the worst possible moment, Totori barges in and catches exactly the wrong angle of what's happening, completely misreads the situation, and starts yelling. Maru's left standing there, knowing there's no explanation on earth that's going to save him from how this looks. Not long after, Totori makes her own move on Maru, offering her own company for a price, or his solar-powered light as an alternative, brushing off his attempt to politely decline. She gets pushy about it, pulling him in close enough that he panics and yells for Kiruko to come help. Kiruko bursts in expecting an actual emergency, and instead finds the two of them tangled up in a position that reads exactly the wrong way. She doesn't wait for an explanation, just starts shouting, convinced she's walked in on something far worse than what's actually happening. Maru realizes almost instantly that nothing he says is going to talk his way out of how this looks. Once things calm down, Maru and Kiruko apologize to Totori for the mess. She shrugs off the blame, admitting she's the one who set it in motion. That's what gets her talking about herself. An orphan with no memory of life before the vigilantes who raised her, and no past worth chasing. Her plan for the future is simple and unapologetic. Rent out clean rooms, build a name for herself, and once the money's steady, expand into whatever else pays, including plenty of paid company with customers who aren't sleazy. All of it building toward one goal, king of hotels. Right after the misunderstanding clears up, Maru admits, a little sheepish, that mid-panic he accidentally considered using the Maru touch on Totori just to prove his side of the story. Doesn't even make sense, since it kills whatever he touches, and he's not sure why he thought it'd work on a person instead of a man-eater. Kiruko doesn't let him forget it. Back at the school, a quieter mystery keeps building. After a checkup, staff confirm nothing's wrong with Tokyo physically, just worn down, and a nap gets advised. What follows is more nightmare than rest. Asura appears in the dream, asking her what she's actually good at, and before she can answer, an infection starts spreading fast across her own skin. She wakes up screaming for a doctor before anyone can explain anything. Once she's calm, she isn't sure if what she saw was real, Asura's ghost, or just a dream, and that footprint from earlier finally gets a name. There's only one person it could belong to, Tokyo, except nobody can explain how. No route makes sense. Just one quiet, impossible detail, hinting Tokyo might be capable of something nobody's clocked yet, not even her. As they're getting ready to leave, word comes in that the boss, the leader of the group Totori grew up with, died that same morning, despite Maru and Kiruko having saved him earlier. He was strong enough that nobody expected it to actually happen. Totori takes it harder than she lets on, calling him a genuinely good boss to have, even while brushing it off as just part of life out here. Maru offers her a spot traveling with them before they head out, She turns it down, her path's already set, chasing that hotel empire of hers instead. They wish her well on it, and with that settled, move on toward the Immortal Order. Out in the world, the search for the Immortal Order finally pays off. Quietly, Kiruko mentions, half joking, that her old office sign back in Nakano was written wrong, squeezed onto one line so it read like she killed and ate men instead of killing man-eaters. Somebody got murdered in town once, and half the neighborhood came storming her door over nothing but a spelling mistake. People turning aggressive over things they never bothered to understand. It's a small joke. It's also basically the whole world in one sentence. A guard flags them down first, spots the weapons and the sign about killing man-eaters, and reports it straight to Dr. Usami, calling them potential bodyguards worth bringing in. They get escorted inside, but the man they're brought to isn't Usami at all. Kiruko pulls out the old photo she's been carrying this whole time and shows it, asking if any of them recognize the man in it, the doctor she's actually been trying to track down this entire journey. Nobody does. Standing there instead is a group named Liviaman, who make it clear immediately they're not with the Order, they're against it. Their leader is a girl named Mizuhashi, and she doesn't ease into her case. She just shows them her leg, replaced without her consent, cold and mechanical, after she came to the Order for treatment on nothing more than a minor injury and woke up permanently altered. Kuwata, who is a member of this group, tells us about something even more terrible. The Immortal Order isn't just performing forced amputations. Somewhere in the world before the collapse, there was a dream of placing a human brain into a fully robotic body, a kind of manufactured immortality, blocked for decades by ethics nobody in this lawless new world bothers enforcing anymore. Mizuhashi claims she saw the result herself. A body, kept alive behind a curtain, mutilated far past anything resembling survival, sustained by machines, and treated as an object of worship by the Order's own followers. It even spoke to her. 2 words: chronic death, mortal. That image alone is enough to explain exactly why Mizuhashi's willing to risk everything to shut this place down. Kiruko brings up the rumor herself that the Order's been grafting man-eater parts onto human bodies too, not just chasing immortality but power. Mizuhashi and her group go quiet, visibly caught off guard. They hadn't heard that part yet. Now he has a job for exactly 2 people who happen to be very good at killing those creatures. Somewhere in the building's basement, the Order is reportedly keeping a living, captive man-eater. Kill it, and Liviaman's people get their opening to finally negotiate with the Order on equal footing. Kiruko agrees almost instantly. Too fast, honestly. Fast enough that Maru notices something's off in how she's carrying herself. Sharper, tenser, less like her usual self, more like the version of her she doesn't talk about often. "You're turning into Haruki again," he tells her, and doesn't get a clear answer back, because the doctor connected to this place might be tangled up in the exact same conspiracy that took her brother's life and rebuilt her own. This isn't just a job to her anymore. It hasn't been for a while. The plan is simple on paper. Liviaman's people stage a loud, visible protest out front as cover, while a sympathetic guard lets Maru and Kiruko slip in through the back, straight down into the basement. It's suspiciously quiet down there. No guards, no sound. Maru says as much, admits the whole setup's been bugging him. What if this is a trap, same as the water tip? Kiruko hears him out, but figures paying them up front makes that unlikely. Then they find it. Not one man-eater, but several, frozen still, starved and dormant. One of the little ones twitches. Then another. And that's when they spot the source they all split off from. The big one, still and silent in the back, clearly the one holding this whole starving brood together. The fight turns chaotic fast, creatures skittering through gaps in the walls that shouldn't exist, both of them scrambling to keep track of targets that keep vanishing and reappearing. And somewhere in the middle of it, something goes seriously wrong inside Kiruko's head. The big one, whatever it actually holds this brood together, gets a look at her, and it's enough. She starts hallucinating, trapped inside a vision of the man-eater actually eating her alive, flailing and firing at nothing, completely gone from what's really happening around her. Maru shakes her back to reality, then immediately regrets trying to lighten the mood with "guess you'd rather have Robin save you." He apologizes fast, admits he panicked thinking she was already gone. Neither says much after that. Turns out the big one had been hypnotizing her just by being seen. Explains the vision, if not the sting of his joke. They finish the job. Every creature down there dead, and that's when the real ending of this stretch drops. Quiet, almost polite. A man steps forward once the basement goes still, calm in a way that doesn't match the carnage around him, and makes it clear he's not finished with them yet. There's someone else he wants them to kill. Someone else he wants them to help. Kiruko, cautious now, finally just asks him outright, "Are you with the Immortal Order? Are you connected to Dr. Usami?" The man doesn't hesitate. He said, "He's me." "Alright, that's it for today. I'll meet you in some time."